Unlimited, the former All-Pro receiver that thinks Beckham Jr. could have been the first NFL player to get a $200 million deal if not for injuries in his career, and Beckham Jr.'s response to it all. For now in Owings Mills, Rocco DeSangro for Sports Unlimited.
The stage is now set for this year's FIFA World Cup Championship game. England clinched their spot today after beating Australia 3-1. They'll face off with Spain this Sunday. Coverage begins at 5 a.m. You can watch the excitement live right here on Fox 45.
And we are looking at dry conditions as we at least head into the weekend and get closer to it. So we will stay nice and dry as we head through Thursday. I'm tracking a little weather maker before the weekend arrives. This skinny line of showers with this cold front pushes through late tomorrow night through really early Friday morning. A stray shower and isolated storm with that. But after that, we're going to dry out nicely for the weekend. So Friday's actually not as hot, not as humid again. A pleasant day with highs in the mid 80s. We'll stay that way on Saturday. Nothing but sunshine. I'd say it's the pick of the weekend just because it's not as hot, not as humid. The sunshine is here to stay through Sunday, but temperatures will be heating up. We're close to 90 again by the end of the weekend.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6, Mayor Brandon Scott hearing from residents on Safe Streets funding, why some say his claims of full transparency are wrong. And Hawaiian officials revealing warning sirens were tested days before the wildfires, the controversy surrounding Maui's alert system.
A father recounts the deadly shooting this weekend inside a Timonium Sky Zone. The details he's sharing with Fox 45 and the impact the shooting has left on his family. Fox 45 continues our investigation into the Safe Streets program, what Mayor Scott is saying to residents who are pressing for full transparency on the program. And some new information coming out of Maui tonight. The emergency tests officials did just days before wildfires blazed through the island.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if he was reloading. I just know he emptied everything and I wasn't sticking around.
Well, tonight we are getting a first-hand account of what unfolded inside the Timonium Sky Zone Saturday night when a man was shot and killed inside the trampoline park. A dad who was there with his kids describing the fight-or-flight instinct that kicked in and the split-second decision he made to keep his kids safe from gunfire. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary Bubala. Thank you for staying with us. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has the interview you're seeing first on Fox.
In speaking with this dad today, we really got the sense how heavy it was to witness this terror all inside of a place he felt was safe to bring his family. This Baltimore County dad says his senses are still heightened, having yet to come down from the shock of what his family witnessed Saturday night.
I haven't really settled in to normalcy.
David Locke says he was just looking to have some fun with his kids after a long week.
It's usually packed. I mean, we've been going there for years.
Saying they're frequent flyers at Sky Zone Trampoline Park.
In the past 4 years, between birthday parties, I would say at least 60. I get a membership every year.
Locke said he was sitting in the main trampoline area with his 14-month-old son, having just sent his 9-year-old daughter back out to play, when he said the sound of music and laughter made way for 2 popping sounds.
And I looked to my left, immediate left, and that's when I realized it was not firecrackers or balloons.
Locke then described seeing a man in the nearby foam pit, another man with a black and silver gun standing over him.
And then he just unloaded everything in the magazine.
For this dad, it was fight or flight.
I obviously had nothing. You can't fight a gun with, I had a diaper bag, my son.
Turning and running, collecting his daughter and getting out of there.
I don't know how I would feel if something happened to one of my kids.
Charging documents now reveal 30-year-old Quentin Walker was visiting his daughter at the trampoline park before getting into that violent and deadly encounter with his ex-wife's boyfriend. Walker later turned himself into police, now behind bars and charged with murder.
My focus was my children, and I just wanted to get them out.
But to this dad, at the time, he had no way to know it was a domestic altercation.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't look over my shoulder. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if he was reloading. I just know he emptied everything and I wasn't sticking around.
Witnessing the violence, leading to what he called some very adult conversations with his 9-year-old.
And all these children, their innocence is gone.
Conversations likely happening in other households too.
A lot of families are having this hard conversation. A lot of kids, unfortunately, saw things that they should have never seen.
Locke says he's not sure if or when his family will return to the trampoline park, now reevaluating plans to visit the fair and be in a large crowd.
It seems like people aren't afraid anymore. It just seems like the thing in people's head would stop them from maybe doing something or thinking like there's some consequences. I feel like some people, it doesn't exist.
That alleged shooter was denied bond by a judge here in Baltimore County earlier this week, and that man is due back in court on that murder charge in early September. In Timonium, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Fox 45 News has learned a 16-year-old shot and killed Monday in East Baltimore was a student at Digital Harbor High School. Friends of Bryson Hudson shared this picture of him with us. Police say he was shot and killed in what they believe was a drive-by shooting. It happened near Johns Hopkins Hospital. A 26-year-old was also shot. Mayor Brandon Scott and Acting Police Commissioner Richard Worley are hearing from residents as part of the confirmation process, and some want to know more about Safe Streets. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost has the latest on just what the mayor said to the community when pressed about the program.
The mayor says there's complete transparency when it comes to the Safe Streets program and how the nonprofits spend the money. But through our investigation, we know that hasn't always been the case.
And welcome to Mayor Scott and Commissioner Burley Community Engagement Session.
Mayor Brandon Scott and Acting Baltimore Police Commissioner Richard Worley listening to community members all over Baltimore before City Council votes on Worley's confirmation. One question this week directed at Worley was about how the police department and Safe Streets can better work together to make Charm City safer.
Regardless of whether or not the organization is a nonprofit.
Mayor Brandon Scott taking the question instead and quick to push back on transparency concerns.
We have to understand that there's always transparency with these programs. The monies that we spend on Safe Streets is out there for anybody to see. But what we are not going to do is allow these right-wing people to come in and try to tear down folks who have changed their life and want to make their neighborhood a better place.
I reject that characterization None of us wants anyone to be hurt, harmed, certainly not killed or murdered, whether it's Safe Streets or anyone else. I'm speaking, again, as a taxpayer, not a right-wing media person.
Oh, not you. You know what I'm talking
I don't
about.
represent any media company or corporation. I do represent, or at least personally represent, a taxpayer, a homeowner, a citizen, and I think we have the right to understand and know better where and how our money is spent.
Mayor Scott is right about nonprofits showing how some money is spent, but every dollar is not accounted for on the annual reports produced.
This is a very superficial look at their finances.
Taxpayer advocate David Williams says the 990 financial form given to the federal government is not an audit of the organization's finances, doesn't go into detail, and often lags by a year or more on information.
While a 990 is required by the IRS and is a good snapshot of the organization, it doesn't tell the whole story. And that's why we should be suspect of money going through nonprofits, is because their finances are hidden in a 990, and there's a delayed process for getting the financial information from a nonprofit.
While the city requires public record requests to hand over the contracts with LifeBridge and Catholic Charities to operate the Safe Streets sites, the details of the contracts indicate just how in control of the program City Hall really is. The nonprofits must get permission from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement for any flyer for Safe Streets events or comments given to the media. And details of how every penny is spent are not included. For some in the community, the information provided by the city simply is not enough.
We want to see what the return on investment, so to speak, what the return on investment is, and we want to know, again, is it working? Not just from Johns Hopkins studies. We want a better representation, we want better information, and we want to have transparency.
So I guess there is nothing secret about Safe Streets.
But the city has gone to great lengths to shield some information from the public. We still don't know who trains the Safe Streets workers, what their training entails, and how exactly Catholic Charities and LifeBridge spend the millions of dollars given to them by the city.
This is gaslighting when he says that we do know where the money is being spent. The mayor is wrong.
Mayor Scott continues to say that City Hall believes it's important to keep the names of the Safe Streets workers private to protect their safety. In the newsroom, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Well, this brings us to our question of the day. Do taxpayers deserve to know how Safe Streets spends money? So far, 89% of those who voted say yes. You can make your voice heard by going to foxbaltimore.com/vote. Hartford County Executive Bob Casserly is pledging to increase protection along the popular Ma and Pa walking trail in Bel Air following the discovery of 37-year-old Rachel Morin's body more than a week ago. Yesterday, Casserly announced cameras will be coming to the trail to help keep an electronic eye out. Specifically, he says security will be increased along the trail's isolated areas, below bridges, and through thick forest coverage. Right now, he's still working with BGE and private contractors to determine exactly where those cameras will be placed, how much they'll cost, and when they'll be installed.
In the meantime, folks are going to have to rely upon additional police patrols, but also their own public safety awareness. Walk with a friend. Don't go at dusk. Carry your phone with you.
Well, Fox 45 spoke with residents who tell us cameras are a welcome investment and that they hope it will prevent future tragedies and provide some peace of mind. Well, Baltimore County Police searching for people who they say smashed their way into a Pikesville jewelry store. It happened early this morning near Reisterstown Road. Police say the suspects drove a van through the front of Radcliffe Jewelers. Once inside, they allegedly grabbed several high-end items before getting away. Anybody with information is asked to call police. Fox 45 News is learning 88-year-old Barbara Logan was the woman killed in a hit-and-run in Northwest Baltimore Monday afternoon. Police say they are searching for a flatbed truck which allegedly ran into Logan's car on Liberty Heights Avenue. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. Anybody with information asked to call police. Fox 45's Keith Daniels will have a complete report on the incident coming up all new at 10.
We're following some breaking news. Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency says it tested the state's emergency warning system on August 1st. That was days before the wildfires devastated Maui. The news now leaving many people wondering why the 80 emergency sirens on the island never sounded during the wildfires. The agency has previously stated that the sirens alone would not have been assigned to evacuate, but for residents to seek more information. However, Hawaii's governor says he believes people would have been alerted more quickly had the sirens been used. Other alert systems were activated, including mobile and radio alerts, but power outages across the island caused many residents to never receive any warnings. The agency says it is still analyzing the results of the most recent test. Right now, Hawaii's governor says he believes some of the sirens were broken.
An update in the ongoing investigation into the fatal shooting on the set of the film Rust. What new analysis is revealing about the moments before the gun went off.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, Target releases its worst sales numbers in 6 years. Hear what the company's CEO has to say about the cause.
And I am tracking mostly sunshine, but there is one weather maker headed our direction. I'll explain what that means for our shower and storm chances in a couple of minutes on Fox 45 News at 6.
Actor Alec Baldwin could face charges once again for the deadly shooting on the set of his upcoming film Rust. Variety reporting that a forensic report released Tuesday found that Baldwin's revolver would only fire if the trigger was pulled. Baldwin has repeatedly denied pulling the trigger on the revolver that killed cinematographer Hala Hutchins, saying he had only pulled the hammer back and let it go. Involuntary manslaughter charges were dismissed against Baldwin in April after evidence suggested the gun may have misfired after being tampered with. A final decision hasn't been made on whether to refile charges against the actor. Well, Well, trending now, Target CEO is saying backlash from their controversial Pride campaign may have played a role in the company's declining sales. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has this story.
Well, Mary, this campaign aimed at inclusion ended with both sides upset and Target's bottom line suffering as a result.
It's just, again, seemingly caught in the middle of these culture wars in a way that did seem to impact sales.
Sales dropping 5.4% for the second quarter, the retailer's first negative quarterly sales report in 6 years. On a call with reporters, Target CEO Brian Cornell attributing the decline in part to inflation as customers cut back on non-essentials, but also to negative guest reaction to our Pride assortment.
For the first time, we have a CEO that has admitted that engaging in contentious social issues has had a negative impact on the company's bottom line.
This year's Pride campaign featured items like tuck-friendly swimsuits, creating a firestorm from conservatives. The company's subsequent pivot, pulling items from shelves or placing them in the back of the store, upsetting the LGBTQ+ community. Following the changes, Target's sales began to recover in July.
When you engage in contentious social issues, you're going to create contention. There is not a broad consensus on a lot of these social issues, progressive issues that corporations seem intent on weighing in on.
Bud Light facing similar issues, struggling to recover from plunging sales following the partnership with trans activist Dylan Mulvaney.
Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
Anheuser-Busch heir Billy Busch offering to buy his family's company back from current owner AB InBev.
If they don't want that brand any longer, sell it back to the Busch family, sell it to me. I'll be the first in line to buy that brand back from you, and we'll make that brand great again.
This Bud Light controversy has cost its parent company $395 million in revenue. The company blaming that loss on declining U.S. sales. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins, Fox 45 News.
It's now time for your triple cast. Things are looking quiet on the radar. We had a weather maker move through yesterday. That's now long gone. You'll notice the showers and storms offshore with that. Plus, blue skies are dominating in both Towson and over the Inner Harbor currently. But we're already looking ahead to our next weather maker, and that's pushing in from the north and from the west. Quite a distance away from us right now. It's that cold front that you see cutting across Minneapolis. That is traveling our direction. Now, before it gets here, we've got high pressure nudging in from the south and west, and that's going to keep us dry and clear at least for the next 24 hours. But after that, we are throwing a brief rain chance back into the mix. So if we time it out here on Future Scan, not much happening as we head through Thursday morning. We'll actually enjoy a good amount of sunshine. That will continue to be the case through the afternoon. But here comes that cold front marching in from the north and west, sending us a brief line of showers and storms. Most fizzle out before reaching us. I think at most a passing shower and isolated storm overnight Thursday into very, very early Friday morning. After that, it's just going to kind of slice down on some of that heat and humidity again. So for tomorrow, pool-worthy temperatures here. We'll make a run for the mid-80s. Actually, Friday, not quite as warm. We're back in the low 80s, plus we're not dealing with humidity behind that cold front passing through. For the weekend, we are looking forward to more sunshine. Actually sunny and comfortable to get things started on Saturday. High temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Sunday, little hotter. That calls for snowball or ice cream. High temperatures will be back up to that toasty 90-degree mark. So enjoy the next couple of days with temperatures hanging out at or actually slightly below where they should be. We should be around 87. That's where we're headed tomorrow. Friday and Saturday, we're briefly back in the mid-80s. But after that, the heat is on. Not only are we tracking a ton of sunshine here as we head through the end of the weekend and into next week, we'll be closer to 90 again by next Sunday, and by next Monday, the hottest day out of this stretch. High temperatures will be flirting with the mid-90s. Now, in just a couple of minutes, I'll let you know exactly how long this hot stretch is going to continue in our exclusive 10-day forecast. Mary?
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Quite the storm off the coast of North Carolina last night. It was full of lightning with multiple cloud-to-water strikes. This remarkable image is a composite of 16 pictures. The streaks you see in the sky are from the Perseid meteor shower. And have you ever seen a bee coming in for a landing on a sunflower? Talk about perfect timing.
Want to see your weather photos and videos on TV? Click Chime In on this station's website to share.
A newspaper ad running in Florida causing controversy. The link, it says, exists between marijuana use and mass murder. In tonight's Assignment America, a recent advertisement in a local Florida newspaper is turning a lot of heads. The ad reads, "Mass murder and marijuana use go hand in hand." Victoria DeCardas of our Sinclair sister station West Palm Beach takes a look at the controversy.
This is the ad in question, paid for by Americans Against Legalizing Marijuana. And it says listed here all the mass murderers that used marijuana at least once in their life, and it led to their killing spree. But one Lake Worth doctor, Aldo Morales, says it only paints half the picture because marijuana research is still in its infancy. Just below the fold on the Sun Sentinel Sunday paper is an advertisement with a warning label. Mass murder and marijuana use go hand in hand. Under it, a picture of Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz and his experience with marijuana. Next to Cruz is a dozen more mass murderers, like the Pulse nightclub shooter and Aurora movie theater shooter, and what they've said about their marijuana use.
I don't know that we have any literature linking mass murderers to marijuana any more than you can link them to smoking cigarettes.
Dr. Aldo Morales is an addiction specialist in Lake Worth, dedicating the last 30 years to studying how drugs affect the mind.
The marijuana that's available today is much stronger than what was used in yesteryear, like what the hippies used to use.
Dr. Morales says marijuana has evolved with more than 100 active ingredients in the plant that can help those with anxiety, like CBD, or it can produce a euphoric experience with THC, and says most adults can handle the altered state, but it can be dangerous to a younger user.
If we introduce marijuana into the developing brain, now we're fooling around a little too much with the human development and with the growth of that individuals.
When we asked Dr. Morales about the claims in the ad, which says marijuana can lead to aggressive behavior, psychosis, and paranoia, he says it's possible, but there's not enough research to support the marijuana to murderer pipeline. And Dr. Morales says since marijuana was deemed an illegal substance in the 1970s, there has been little to no research on how it affects the brain. So anything that we're doing now is still in the early stages. We have reached out for comment on this ad to the Americans Against Legalizing Marijuana, but we have yet to hear back from them. Reporting in Lake Worth, Victoria DeCardenas.
And here's a look ahead at your full 10-day forecast. Very limited rain chances here. I am tracking the potential for a stray shower and isolated storm overnight Thursday into really early Friday morning. That's a new cold front coming through. That just keeps our temperatures in check. We'll spend both Friday and Saturday in the mid-80s. We are back up to 90 degrees.